Great. Hi, everyone. My name's Tom. I do writing on the side, and I work for Sask Apprenticeship as a program coordinator. And yeah, I'm here to talk a little bit about travel. Before I start, like Ashley said, I have been to a lot of these Storytellers Nights before, and this is the first time I've actually been able to speak at one. And I'd just like to say that like wow, Ashley, the work that you put in for these events is just phenomenal. Me and Ashley got coffee before this, and just to talk about my story and everything. And I have never left like a one-on-one coffee like talk more jazzed in my entire life than like when we met. The like passion that you have for this, and like you can just tell with these events kind of thing. And I just want to give like a quick little hand for you, Ash, because it's awesome. Okay, so anyway, so I am going to be talking about travel, and I always find that when you talk about travel, it's tough because no matter what experience you have, you always talk with this level of privilege, right? Like I've worked really hard for the experiences that I've done. I applied, I like really put myself out there. But at the same time, everything that I have experienced is because of where I grew up and, the safety net that I've always had. And that's always been thanks to my dad. He has always he's dedicated his life to like making sure that I have these experiences and supporting me throughout them. I know he's in the audience today, so I just want to say, Dad, everything I say from like this point onward is because of you. It's good, don't worry. So a little bit of background about where I've been. So I studied abroad in Morocco. I worked in Malawi, Africa. I worked with the Malawian government there. We managed all the NGOs in the water and sanitation sector. And then I also worked in Guatemala with a coffee cooperative that actually supplied 33 and a third for a while. They were called the CCDA, and they fought for indigenous rights in Guatemala. And so I tell people these stories, and people they always think they're so cool because they're really unique traveling experiences, right? Like not a lot of people have been to Malawi, Africa. But to me, these stories are so like, they're normal for me because I've lived them, I talk about them all the time. And they're just the norm. But the thing is if you were to tell 16-year-old me about these stories and the fact that I've actually been able to experience them, he would have for sure thought that you were lying. And that's partially just because when I was in high school, 16, I had kind of like a really shitty high school. I mean, on that note, I think everybody has a shitty high school. High school sucks. Everybody's mean, and everyone's trying to figure themselves out. But yeah, I got like, I was bullied a lot. I have a broken nose, right? So people like right at the beginning of like grade 9, I was always called like Big Nose and like Pinocchio and stuff like that. And like it sucked. Yeah, like it was really mean, and yeah, it really got to me, especially as like a high school kid. Like it destroyed my mental health, my confidence. It got to the point where I would stay up till like 3 a.m. in the morning, like looking up plastic surgery places because I was just so like, I wanted to change. And yeah, it sucked. And what I think it really did is it put me in this box, right? And it put me in this place where I never thought I was gonna do anything cool or do anything interesting or do anything really. Like I was always just kind of like gonna be mundane for my whole life. And that carried over to university for a while. I did 2 years at university where, I did 2 years at university where, I just took a general business degree. I didn't really do anything, like I didn't take any risks, I guess I should say. I didn't take any leaps. And then one day I skipped class, got lunch with a friend, and she told me that her boyfriend was doing a semester abroad. And I thought it was so cool. Everything she was talking about was just so interesting. And like, thank God that this friend was so like in my face about it, because she literally like could see how much I wanted to do it in that conversation. And she was like, go to the office. And she just gave me the exact steps of what I needed to do. So I got to the office and got an application, and I became obsessed with filling out this application. It became the only thing that was important to me. And so on this application, you pick 5 places that you want to go to. And like any, I don't know, white guy in his 20s, I wanted to go to Australia. But glad that joke landed. So I really wanted to go to Australia, but my advisor was very direct in saying, like, it's tough to get in Australia, Tom. You might not get in Australia. Pick other places. So knowing that, I thought, okay, well, I just want to go somewhere crazy if like I have to deal with the sadness of not going to Australia. And so one of the only options in Africa was Morocco, so I just picked it. 3 months later, I got called down to the office, and she said that I was going to Morocco. I don't remember anything else from that meeting. All I remember is walking out of that office in like a daze, sitting down on a couch, and pulling out my phone, opening Google, and typing in, "Where is Morocco?" Because I didn't know. I literally looked up pictures for like half an hour because I was just like, this was the first time in my life that I had ever taken a risk like this. I got lost in the airports like a lot. But I got there and I was immediately surrounded by just like the most phenomenal people. There was someone who could like speak 6 languages, someone who was like going to Harvard, someone who was, she had like a 5-minute conversation with Obama. I don't really know the details, but I was like, that's really cool. Obama's a chill guy. It was just like, I was just inspired with everybody I met. And on a side note, I think that's kind of what traveling does, right? Like it takes your social norms of where you are and it completely shatters them because you're surrounded by completely different people in a completely different situation, and it's awesome. So in Morocco, being surrounded by all these people, I got kind of like imposter syndrome because I really didn't think that I should be there. And I was talking to this girl once, and she was telling me about how she was like going to Europe to like do photography in all these different countries. And it sounded like the coolest thing. And I remember saying like, oh, I wish I could do that. And she was like, well, why can't you? And my answer, well, I didn't have an answer. Because what I would have said was, well, I got bullied in high school, so I don't think I'm good enough to do that. And that's not an answer, right? That's just me being worried about the rejection of like looking into these things. And it was, I swear, it was like almost immediate that this box that I had around me was just gone. Like I just felt like I could do anything because, I realized that the only thing I was worried about was the rejection of not being able to do it. But if I didn't try, obviously, like I already got rejected kind of. So I got home and immediately started looking for other places to go after. And I found Malawi, Africa, an internship with Engineers Without Borders. Amazing experience, a lot tougher than Morocco. I was living in a very impoverished area, and Malawi is already a very poor country. It's one of the poorest countries in the world. It's in terms of GNI per capita, at least. And I remember in Malawi, in the capital city, there's areas, like the city's broken up into areas. And there's always an expat community wherever you go, any country, doesn't matter. So in Lilongwe, the capital, the expat community was Area 3. And I was in Area 23, which was much more impoverished. It was with a host family and everything. And every time I got in a minibus, I'd be like, going to Area 23. And he would look at me and be like, no, you're going to Area 3. And I would be like, no, 23. And it was always like a 20-minute debate of me telling him that I was going to Area 23. And he was like, no, you're going to Area 3. And anyway, yeah, it was hard. It was, no running water. Our kitchen was like just a hot plate, rolling blackouts all the time. To give people an idea of my experience there, I usually just tell them about my commute to work, which was I get up at 4:30 in the morning, take a cold bucket bath where you just kind of splash water on you until you feel clean. You never do. On the road by 6 a.m., walk for 30 minutes, get to this like super just chaotic market bus area where, you have to find the right bus where you're going. And there's no like regiment. People just like kind of pull up in buses, jump out and just start screaming, we're going over here. And you have to just kind of get used to, like know where you're going. I got on the wrong minibus like so many times, and I didn't know what to do. So lots of taxi fares. But and then you go for 30 minutes in this bus, then you get out because my work was up this hill and the bus went another way. And then I would literally have to hitchhike every single day to go up this hill 15 minutes and then take another 20-minute walk. So I got to work around 9, getting up at like 4:30. And I did that every single day. And it was hard. And it never really got easier. But the thing is that it never really got to me. And it never really got to me because, like what Ashley was talking about, and there's tons of different ways for it, and I'm definitely not coining the phrase here, but I just recognized these small moments that I had. And for me, what small moments are just kind of like quick, brief, kind of thankful, like moments where you just realize something and you're just, you're happy. And for me in Malawi, it was the fact that like, over like when I was 16, I would literally like lock myself in like a bathroom stall for the whole hour just to go like one lunch without like being called a name or being made fun of. And I went from this kid with like no confidence who like did that like on a regular basis to a guy who was like working in Malawi, working with like people from like the African Development Bank, doing really cool stuff, literally climbing mountains. And I just, it just kept me going throughout the entire thing. And that's why I say that, like, if I go to my 16-year-old self, and even up until now, saying, telling him about the experiences that I've had, the relationships that I've had, the people that I've met, everything, he would not believe me. And I think that's awesome, right? And that's what traveling gave me. It gave me those small moments, and it it just took me out of that box. And yeah, that's my story.